The Galactic Council chamber shook, not from earthquake, but from explosions. Bright flashes lit up the rows of alien delegates, blue-skinned humanoids, insect-like creatures with clicking mandibles, and floating orbs of light. In the center of it all, a human, Ambassador Ramirez, was being dragged away by two heavily armored guards. "You can't do this," Ramirez shouted, his voice echoing through the vast chamber. "Earth deserves to be heard." The council speaker, a wise-looking being with long, flowing tentacles, boomed, "Earth has had its chance. Your planet's reckless actions have endangered the entire galaxy. The vote is final. Earth is banished." The guards didn't stop. They forced Ramirez towards a shimmering portal that led back to Earth, a place now officially an outcast. The portal closed with a snap, leaving a stunned silence in the chamber. Why was Earth banned? Well, Earthlings had a history. They were always pushing boundaries. They polluted their own planet, used up resources like there was no tomorrow, and experimented with technologies nobody understood, sometimes causing many black holes to appear for a few seconds. They didn't listen to the Galactic Council's rules, thinking they knew best. The last straw was when they tried to build a super powerful engine that could bend space and time. The Council warned them it was too dangerous, but Earth ignored them. The engine malfunctioned, creating a ripple in space-time that almost destroyed a nearby planet. That's when the Council decided they had enough. Earth had to go. Back on Earth, the news of the banishment spread like wildfire. People were angry, confused, and scared. Some agreed with the Council, admitting Earth had made mistakes. But others, a growing number, felt betrayed. They believed Earth was being unfairly punished for its ambition and innovation. That's when Anya Sharma stepped forward. She was a scientist, a brilliant engineer, and a powerful speaker. She had warned the government about the dangers of the space-time engine, but they hadn't listened. Now, she saw an opportunity to unite Earth and forge a new path. "The Council has abandoned us," Sharma declared in a broadcast that reached every corner of the planet. "They call us reckless, but we are pioneers. We are not afraid to explore the unknown. We will not beg for their forgiveness. We will build our own destiny." Her words resonated with the people. They were tired of being told what to do. They wanted to prove the Council wrong. Sharma proposed a radical plan: unite all nations under a single banner, pool their resources, and develop technologies that would surpass anything the Council had ever seen. Slowly, hesitantly, the world began to follow her. Old rivalries were put aside. Scientists and engineers from every country worked together, driven by a shared sense of purpose and a desire to show the galaxy what Earth was truly capable of. They started building in secret, deep underground, and in the far reaches of space, preparing for a future where Earth would no longer be at the mercy of the Galactic Council. They would become an empire. Anya Sharma's call to action wouldn't have resonated so strongly if Earth hadn't already been on a dangerous path. For centuries, Earth had been using up its resources at an alarming rate. Factories pumped smoke into the air, turning the skies gray. Rivers and oceans became polluted with waste, harming the creatures that live there. The Galactic Council had warned Earth repeatedly. They offered solutions, cleaner energy sources, and ways to manage resources responsibly. But Earth always had an excuse. "We need to grow our economy," they'd say. "We need to provide for our people." They ignored the long-term consequences, focusing only on the present. And then there were the experiments. Earth scientists were always tinkering with things they didn't fully understand. They created new weapons, explored dangerous forms of energy, and even tried to manipulate the weather. The Council had strict rules about these things, rules designed to prevent accidents and protect the galaxy. But Earth often bent or broke those rules, claiming it was for the sake of progress. One time, they accidentally created a swarm of self-replicating robots that almost consumed an entire moon. Another time, they opened a portal to another dimension, releasing strange creatures that terrorized a small town before being contained. Each incident added to the Council's growing unease. It wasn't just about breaking rules, it was about a pattern of behavior. Earth seemed to think it was above the law, that its needs and desires were more important than the safety of the galaxy. That's why, when the space-time engine malfunctioned, the Council finally decided enough was enough. Earth had proven it couldn't be trusted. Anya Sharma wasn't just a scientist. She was a natural leader. She had a way of speaking that made people believe in her, even when things seemed impossible. She understood Earth's flaws, but she also saw its potential. She knew that Earth could be more than just a reckless troublemaker. It could be a force for good, a shining example of what humanity could achieve. But first, they needed to be strong. Sharma knew that the Council wouldn't take Earth seriously unless they had power. That's why she focused on building a military. She poured resources into developing new weapons, faster ships, and stronger defenses. She recruited the best pilots, engineers, and soldiers, training them to be the most skilled warriors in the galaxy. The Council, still underestimating Earth, assumed they were simply licking their wounds. They didn't realize that Earth was secretly building a fleet of warships, hidden in the asteroid belt and deep beneath the ocean. They didn't know that Earth was developing new technologies that could rival even the most advanced alien civilizations. Sharma's plan was simple: surprise. She wanted to show the Council that Earth was not to be trifled with. She wanted to make them regret their decision to banish Earth. But more than that, she wanted to create a new order in the galaxy, one where Earth had a seat at the table and its voice was heard. She spent years preparing, gathering resources, training her forces, and planning her attack. She knew that the first strike was crucial. It had to be bold, decisive, and impossible to ignore. The galaxy was about to learn that banning Earth was the biggest mistake the Galactic Council had ever made. The sleeping giant was about to awaken. The moment arrived. Years of planning, training, and secret construction culminated in a single, coordinated attack. Earth's target, Outpost Gamma, a key Council monitoring station located near a strategically important wormhole. The Council believed it was well defended, but they didn't know the half of it. Earth's fleet, sleek and powerful, emerged from the shadows of the asteroid belt. The ships were painted black, making them difficult to detect against the backdrop of space. They moved with surprising speed, their engines humming with anew. Earth developed technology that allowed them to travel faster than anything the Council possessed. The attack was swift and brutal. Earth's fighters, nimble and deadly, swarmed the Council's defenses, overwhelming them with sheer numbers. Earth's warships, armed with powerful laser cannons and missile launchers, pounded the outpost, tearing through its shields and blasting its structures to pieces. The Council forces were caught completely off guard. They scrambled to defend themselves, but they were too late. Earth's attack was too fast, too coordinated, and too powerful. Within hours, Outpost Gamma was in ruins, its defenses shattered, and its surviving personnel captured. The news of the attack sent shockwaves through the Galactic Council. They couldn't believe that Earth, the banished planet, had launched such a devastating assault. They had underestimated Earth's resolve, its ingenuity, and its thirst for revenge. Sharma's message to the galaxy was clear: Earth was back, and it was ready to fight for its place in the universe. The war had begun. Among the brave pilots who spearheaded the attack on Outpost Gamma was a young man named Kai. He was new to the Earth fleet, fresh out of training, but he possessed a natural talent for flying. His reflexes were lightning fast, and his instincts were always right. He dreamed of making a name for himself, of proving his worth to Earth and to Anya Sharma. Kai piloted a sleek, single-seat fighter called the Viper. It was the fastest and most maneuverable ship in the Earth fleet, equipped with advanced targeting systems and powerful energy weapons. He felt a thrill course through him as he zipped through space, dodging enemy fire and blasting Council fighters out of the sky. He remembered his training vividly. The instructors drilled into them that the Council were oppressors, holding back Earth's potential. He believed it then, and he believed it now. Each successful shot, each enemy ship destroyed, fueled his conviction. During the attack on Outpost Gamma, Kai distinguished himself by taking down a squadron of elite Council fighters. He weaved through their formations, firing precise bursts of energy that crippled their ships. He even managed to destroy a heavily armed cruiser, using a daring maneuver that surprised everyone, including himself. After the battle, Kai was hailed as a hero. His name was on everyone's lips. He had proven himself to be a skilled and fearless pilot, a valuable asset to the Earth fleet. But as he looked out at the wreckage of Outpost Gamma, a small seed of doubt began to sprout in his mind. He couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. The cheers of his comrades couldn't quite drown out the nagging voice in his head. What was he really fighting for? The Galactic Council, stung by the loss of Outpost Gamma, didn't wait long to retaliate. A massive fleet, composed of ships from various member worlds, was assembled and dispatched towards Earth's territory. The fleet was a formidable force, bristling with weapons and carrying thousands of battle-hardened soldiers. Kai, still wrestling with his doubts, found himself back in the cockpit of his Viper, ready to defend Earth. The initial thrill of battle had faded, replaced by a grim determination to protect his home and his people. He knew that this fight would be much tougher than the attack on Outpost Gamma. The two fleets clashed in a spectacular display of laser fire, explosions, and swirling spacecraft. The sky turned into a chaotic canvas of light and destruction. Earth's fighters, though outnumbered, fought bravely, using their superior speed and maneuverability to harass the larger Council ships. Kai found himself in the thick of the action, dodging enemy fire and taking down Council fighters with practiced ease. He flew with a skill and precision that belied his young age. He was a natural pilot, born to fly and fight. But this time, the faces of the enemy pilots flashed in his mind, each one a sentient being with their own hopes and dreams, now reduced to just another target. He saw a Council fighter explode near him, the pilot ejecting in a desperate attempt to escape. For a moment, Kai hesitated, wondering if he should try to rescue the pilot. But then, another Council fighter appeared, firing directly at him. He had to react to defend himself. The moment passed, and the opportunity was lost. The battle raged on, a brutal and unforgiving dance of death in the cold vacuum of space. As the battle raged, Kai found himself in a precarious situation. He was separated from his squadron and surrounded by enemy fighters. He dodged and weaved, using his Viper's superior maneuverability to avoid their attacks. But he knew he couldn't hold out forever. Suddenly, a massive Council warship loomed into view. It was the flagship of the fleet, a heavily armored behemoth bristling with weapons. Kai knew that if he could take out the flagship, it would cripple the Council's offensive and give Earth a significant advantage. He decided to take a chance. He activated his Viper's afterburners, accelerating towards the flagship at incredible speed. The enemy fighters tried to intercept him, but he was too fast, too skilled. He dodged their attacks and blasted them out of the sky, leaving a trail of fire and debris in his wake. As he approached the flagship, he could see the faces of the crew through the viewport. They were alien, different from him, but they were also just people doing their jobs, trying to survive. He saw fear in their eyes, and he realized that they were just as scared as he was. He had a clear shot at the flagship's bridge. He could fire his missiles and destroy the ship, killing everyone on board. It would be a major victory for Earth, but it would also be a terrible tragedy. He had a finger on the trigger, ready to unleash the destructive power of his weapons, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. The faces of the crew haunted him. He knew he couldn't kill them, not in cold blood. Suddenly, a voice crackled over Kai's comm system. It was Anya Sharma herself. "Pilot Viper, this is Commander Sharma. You are in position to destroy the Council flagship. Do it now. Show them the price of defiance." Kai's heart pounded in his chest. He knew that disobeying a direct order from Sharma was a serious offense, but he couldn't ignore the feeling in his gut. "Commander," he replied, his voice trembling slightly, "I have a clear shot, but I see their faces. They're just like us." Sharma's voice hardened. "That is irrelevant, Pilot Viper. They are the enemy. They seek to destroy Earth. You must eliminate the threat. Do you understand?" Kai hesitated again. He thought of his training, of the propaganda that had painted the Council as evil oppressors. But he also thought of the faces he had seen on the flagship, the fear and desperation in their eyes. He couldn't reconcile the two. "Pilot Viper, do you copy?" Sharma demanded. "I repeat, destroy the flagship." "That is an order." Kai closed his eyes for a moment, wrestling with his conscience. He knew that Sharma was right, that the Council posed a threat to Earth. But he also knew that killing innocent people was wrong, no matter what the circumstances. He had to make a choice that would define who he was and what he stood for. He took a deep breath and made his decision. He couldn't kill them. He just couldn't. Instead of firing his missiles, Kai targeted the flagship's engines. He fired a precise burst of energy, disabling them without causing any major damage to the ship itself. The flagship shuddered and slowed to a halt, drifting helplessly in space. "Commander," Kai reported, "I have disabled the flagship. It is no longer a threat." There was a moment of stunned silence on the comm system. Then, Sharma's voice, cold and furious, crackled through. "You disobeyed a direct order, Pilot Viper. You were instructed to destroy the flagship, not disable it. Do you realize the consequences of your actions?" Kai knew he was in trouble. Disobeying Sharma was a serious offense, punishable by imprisonment or even death. But he stood by his decision. "Commander," he said, his voice firm, "I cannot bring myself to kill those people. They were not a threat. They were just following orders, just like us." Sharma was unmoved. "Sentimentality has no place in war, Pilot Viper. Victory is all that matters. You have jeopardized our mission and undermined our cause. You will answer for this." With the flagship disabled, the Council fleet began to falter. Earth's forces, energized by Kai's act of defiance, pressed their attack, driving the Council ships back. The battle turned in Earth's favor, but Kai knew that his troubles were just beginning. He had defied his commander, and he would have to face the consequences. His act of mercy may have won the battle, but it could cost him everything. As soon as Kai landed back at the Earth base, he was surrounded by guards. They escorted him to a secure detention cell, where he was left alone to await his fate. He knew that Sharma would not take his disobedience lightly. He could face a court-martial, imprisonment, or even execution. He sat on the cold metal bunk, replaying the battle in his mind. He wondered if he had made the right decision. Had he betrayed Earth? Had he jeopardized the war effort? Or had he done the only thing he could, the only thing that felt right? Later that night, the door to his cell slid open and two figures entered. They weren't guards. They were Dr. Eris Thorne and Dr. Lena Reyes, two of the lead scientists who had worked on the Earth fleet's advanced technology. Kai was surprised to see them. He knew they were brilliant, but he had never considered them to be rebels. Dr. Thorne said, his voice low, "We're here to help you escape." Kai was stunned. "Escape? But why? You're scientists, not soldiers." Dr. Reyes stepped forward. "We've been having doubts about this war for a long time, Kai. We helped build these weapons, but we never intended for them to be used to kill innocent people. What you did today, it gave us hope. It showed us that there's still a chance for peace." Dr. Thorne nodded. "We know that Sharma won't hesitate to make an example of you. We can't let that happen. We have a plan to get you off this base and to a place where you can be safe." Kai just started. He didn't want to run, but he also didn't want to die. He looked at the faces of the two scientists, their eyes filled with determination and a glimmer of hope. He knew that he couldn't stay here and do nothing. He had to take a chance to fight for what he believed in, even if it meant betraying everything he had once stood for. Dr. Thorne and Dr. Reyes led Kai through the darkened corridors of the base, using their knowledge of the facility's layout to avoid detection. They moved quickly and quietly, their hearts pounding with each step. They knew that if they were caught, they would face the same fate as Kai, or worse. They reached a hidden hangar, where a small, unmarked transport ship was waiting. "This is it," Dr. Thorne said. "This ship will take you to a secret research station on a remote moon. We've been using it as a safe haven for scientists who disagree with Sharma's policies." Kai climbed aboard the ship, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. He was leaving everything he knew behind, venturing into the unknown. But he also felt a sense of purpose, a belief that he was doing the right thing. As the ship prepared to launch, Dr. Reyes handed Kai a data chip. "This contains information that could change everything," she said. "We discovered evidence that the Council was hiding something dangerous. We believe that Sharma knew about it, and that's why she was so determined to start this war." Kai took the data chip, his mind racing. What could the Council be hiding? And what did Sharma know about it? He knew that he had to find out the truth, not just for himself, but for Earth and for the entire galaxy. The ship launched into the night sky, disappearing into the darkness. Kai looked back at the Earth base, a symbol of everything he had once believed in. He knew that he might never see it again, but he also knew that he was on a new path, a path that could lead to peace or to even greater conflict. The data chip felt heavy in his hand, a symbol of the responsibility he now carried. The future of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy, rested on his shoulders. The journey to the secret research station was long and perilous. Kai spent his time studying the data chip, trying to decipher its contents. The information was complex and technical, filled with scientific jargon that he didn't fully understand. But he slowly began to piece together the puzzle. The data revealed that the Council had discovered a powerful energy source hidden deep within a restricted sector of space. This energy source, known as the Nexus, was capable of providing unlimited power, but it was also incredibly unstable. The Council had been secretly studying the Nexus, hoping to harness its power, but they had also been suppressing any information about its existence, fearing that it could fall into the wrong hands. Dr. Reyes's notes suggested that the Nexus was not just an energy source. It was also a weapon of unimaginable power. If it were to be weaponized, it could destroy entire star systems. She believed that Sharma knew about the Nexus and that she had started the war to gain control of it. When Kai finally arrived at the research station, he was greeted by a small group of scientists and engineers, all of whom had grown disillusioned with Sharma's leadership. They welcomed him with open arms, eager to help him uncover the truth and bring an end to the war. One of the scientists, a wizened old man named Professor Alara, was an expert in alien technology. He offered to help Kai translate the remaining data on the chip and devise a plan to expose the Council's secret. "We have a responsibility to do what is right," Professor Alara said, his eyes filled with conviction, "even if it means betraying our own people. The truth must be revealed, no matter the cost." Professor Alara and the other scientists worked tirelessly, piecing together the remaining fragments of data on the chip. They discovered that the Council had been secretly experimenting with the Nexus, trying to weaponize it. They had made some progress, but they had also encountered numerous setbacks, including several near-catastrophic accidents. The scientists believed that the Council was on the verge of creating a weapon that could destroy entire star systems. They also believed that Sharma knew about this, and that she was planning to seize control of the Nexus once the Council had perfected the weapon. Kai realized that he had to act quickly. He couldn't allow either Earth or the Council to possess such a destructive power. He had to find a way to stop them both before it was too late. He decided to contact a sympathetic member of the Council, someone who might be willing to listen to his story and help him expose the truth. But he knew that contacting the Council would be risky. Sharma's forces were likely monitoring all communication channels, and he could be captured at any moment. He and the scientists decided to flee the research station in a stolen ship, a small, outdated freighter that they had managed to repair. They knew that the ship was slow and vulnerable, but it was their only chance. As they prepared to depart, Professor Alara handed Kai a small device. "This is a disruptor," he said. "It can disable the Nexus, but it has to be placed directly at its core. It's a suicide mission, Kai. Are you sure you're ready for this?" Kai looked at the faces of the scientists, their eyes filled with hope and fear. He knew that he was taking on an enormous responsibility, but he also knew that he couldn't turn back. "I'm ready," he said. "Let's go end this war." The stolen freighter limped through space, its outdated engines struggling to keep up with the more advanced ships that were patrolling the area. Kai knew that it was only a matter of time before they were detected, but he had no other choice. He managed to send a coded message to Counselor Valerius, a respected member of the Galactic Council who had a reputation for fairness and integrity. He explained the situation, telling Valerius about the Nexus, the Council's secret experiments, and Sharma's plan to seize control of the weapon. To his surprise, Valerius responded. He was shocked by Kai's revelations, but he believed him. He agreed to meet with Kai in a neutral location, a remote space station on the edge of Council space. As they approached the space station, Kai and the scientists were ambushed by Earth fighters. Sharma had tracked them down and was determined to stop them from exposing the truth. Kai took the controls of the freighter, using his piloting skills to evade the enemy fire. The freighter was battered and damaged, but he managed to reach the space station and dock safely. He knew that he was walking into a trap. Sharma's forces were likely waiting for him on the station, but he had come too far to turn back now. He had a responsibility to expose the truth and bring an end to the war, even if it meant sacrificing his own life. He told the scientists to stay on the ship. He went out to meet Counselor Valerius alone. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Kai stepped off the freighter and into the sterile environment of the space station. He was immediately confronted by a squad of heavily armed Earth soldiers. They were led by Commander Thorn, Dr. Thorn's brother, who had remained loyal to Sharma. "Kai," Commander Thorn said, his voice cold and emotionless, "you are under arrest for treason. Surrender peacefully, and I promise you a fair trial." Kai shook his head. "I know what Sharma is planning. She wants to control the Nexus and use it to conquer the galaxy. I can't let that happen." Just then, Counselor Valerius appeared, flanked by his own guards. "Commander Thorn," he said, his voice firm, "I have heard Kai's story, and I believe him. I order you to stand down." Commander Thorn hesitated. He knew that Valerius was a powerful figure in the council, but he had his orders from Sharma. He made his choice. "I cannot obey that order," he said. "My loyalty is to Earth." A firefight erupted, the station echoing with the sound of laser fire. Kai found himself caught in the middle, dodging blasts and trying to stay alive. He knew that he couldn't win this fight. He was outnumbered and outgunned. But he had to get to Valerius to convince him to help him stop Sharma and the Council from destroying the galaxy. He saw an opening and made a dash for Valerius, pushing past the soldiers and grabbing the Counselor's arm. "You have to believe me," he said, his voice desperate. "The Nexus is too dangerous. We have to destroy it before it's too late. We have to end this war." Valerius, convinced by Kai's plea, ordered his guards to protect Kai and help him escape the station. A chaotic battle erupted, not between Earth and the Council, but between those loyal to peace and those who wanted to continue the war. Council guards fought against Earth soldiers, and some Earth soldiers, swayed by Kai's words, turned against Commander Thorn. Kai, with Valerius and a small group of loyal guards, managed to reach a small escape pod. They launched into space, heading towards the coordinates of the Nexus. They knew that Sharma and the Council would be coming after them, but they were determined to reach the Nexus first and disable it. Meanwhile, Sharma, furious at Thorn's failure and Valerius's betrayal, gathered her forces and prepared to seize the Nexus. She believed that with the power of the Nexus, she could crush the Council and establish Earth as the dominant force in the galaxy. The Council, realizing the danger, also dispatched a fleet to the Nexus, determined to secure the weapon for themselves. A final, desperate battle was brewing, not between Earth and the Council, but between those who sought power and those who sought peace. Kai, Valerius, and a small group of rebels were the only ones standing in the way of total destruction. The fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. Kai and Valerius arrived at the Nexus, a swirling vortex of raw energy that pulsed with immense power. Both Sharma's fleet and the Council fleet were already there, engaged in a fierce battle for control of the weapon. Kai knew that he had to act quickly. He couldn't allow either side to gain control of the Nexus. He activated the disruptor, preparing for his suicide mission. "I have to go in there," he said to Valerius. "I'm the only one who knows enough about both Earth and Council technology to disable the Nexus safely." Valerius nodded, his face grim. "Katapulki, the fate of the galaxy rests with you." Kai boarded a small, one-person spacecraft and launched towards the Nexus. He navigated through the chaotic battlefield, dodging laser fire and explosions. He knew that Sharma and the Council were both trying to stop him, but he was determined to reach his destination. As he approached the Nexus, he could feel the immense power radiating from it. It was almost overwhelming, threatening to consume him. He fought his fear and focused on his mission. He used his knowledge of Earth technology to bypass the Council's security systems and penetrate the Nexus's core. He planted the disruptor, setting it to activate in a few minutes. Then, he turned and fled, racing against time to escape the Nexus before it was destroyed. Just as Kai escaped the Nexus, the disruptor activated, sending a powerful surge of energy through the entire structure. The Nexus shuddered and began to collapse, its energy dissipating into the surrounding space. The weapon that could have destroyed entire star systems was no more. Both Sharma's fleet and the Council fleet were caught in the blast, their ships damaged and disabled. The battle came to an abrupt halt as everyone realized what had happened. Sharma, watching from her flagship, was stunned. She had come so close to achieving her goal, to seizing control of the Nexus and establishing Earth as the dominant force in the galaxy. But now it was all gone. As she looked out at the chaos and destruction around her, she began to realize the error of her ways. She had been so focused on power and revenge that she had lost sight of what was truly important. She had sacrificed innocent lives and endangered the entire galaxy, all for the sake of her own ambition. She ordered her fleet to stand down, signaling a truce. She knew that she had failed, not just as a leader, but as a human being. Meanwhile, Valerius contacted the Council, explaining what had happened and urging them to end the war. He told them about Sharma's plan and the Council's own secret experiments with the Nexus. He called for a new era of cooperation and peace, where Earth and the Council could work together for the good of the galaxy. The Council, swayed by Valerius's words and the shocking revelations about their own secret experiments, agreed to a truce. They were tired of the war, and they saw a chance to finally resolve their differences with Earth. Negotiations began, with Sharma and Valerius leading the way. It was a long and difficult process, filled with mistrust and suspicion. But slowly, they began to find common ground. Earth apologized for its past recklessness and agreed to abide by galactic laws. The Council admitted its own mistakes, including its secret experiments with the Nexus and its unfair treatment of Earth. They agreed to work together, sharing knowledge and resources for a better future. Earth would share its advanced technology with the Council, helping them to develop cleaner energy sources and more sustainable practices. The Council would share its knowledge of the galaxy, helping Earth to expand its horizons and explore new worlds. They established a new Galactic Council, where Earth would have a seat at the table, its voice finally heard. They created a new set of rules and regulations, designed to prevent future conflicts and protect the galaxy from dangerous weapons like the Nexus. The war was over. The galaxy was at peace. And it was all thanks to the courage and sacrifice of one young pilot who dared to defy orders and stand up for what he believed in. His brave act showed a better way for both sides. Kai returned to Earth a hero. He was hailed as a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of courage and compassion. He had shown that even after mistakes, a better path was always possible. He was given medals and awards, but he didn't care about the recognition. All he wanted was peace. He wanted to make sure that no one else had to suffer the horrors of war. He used his newfound fame to advocate for peace and understanding. He traveled to different worlds, speaking to people of all species, urging them to put aside their differences and work together for a better future. He also worked to promote environmental sustainability, encouraging Earth and the Council to adopt cleaner energy sources and more responsible practices. He wanted to make sure that the galaxy was a safe and healthy place for generations to come. Anya Sharma, humbled by her defeat and inspired by Kai's example, dedicated her life to serving the galaxy. She worked alongside Valerius, helping to build a new era of cooperation and understanding. The story of Earth and the Council became a legend, a reminder that even after mistakes, a better path is always possible. And it was all thanks to the courage and compassion of one young pilot who dared to defy orders and stand up for what he believed in. He proved that even one person can make a difference, that even in the darkest of times, there is always hope for a better future. He was living proof that a new future was possible.